So this is going to be my review of Transformers Dark Cybertron. Now, Dark Cybertron was this giant 12-part event that was essentially like a big, really... And here's what I like about events in the Transformers comics universe. What I like about them is, it's not like with Marvel or DC where things eventually go back to status quo at some point or another, even though they say things like, everything changes, even though it really only changes for a short amount of time. So what I like about this is that with a lot of stuff that happens when these events happen, in whether it be Transformers or G.I. Joe or something like that, it usually sticks. Like the events of that, sure, some of the stuff does go back to status quo at some point or another, but it's never the same. It never feels like the same thing twice. You know what I mean? Like when stuff changes, it changes for good. And when it does go back, it only goes back so far. So I like that. I really do like that. So for those who are wondering what this event about, it's essentially that Shockwave has brought back the Evil Prime, Nova Prime, and Galvatron from the dead universe, and they're going to take over Cybertron. But however, there's a little more to Shockwave's plan than that. Meanwhile, this is still in the reign of Starscream. For those who are wondering, Starscream was prophesized as the chosen one to lead Cybertron. It didn't exactly, and yeah, it's Starscream. What did you think was going to happen? But yeah, Starscream is now in charge. The Autobots have left Iacon, and Optimus at the time has gone back to calling himself Orion Pax because he doesn't feel he feels like the lineage of Primes has been a little too far corrupt, and he doesn't want to associate with that anymore. And meanwhile, you have Rodimus and his team on the Lost Light searching for the Knights of Cybertron. So it's really good. Like, I like how also in the art style, because probably number one, the art style is it varies, and not because like in a good or bad way. It's more like the art style changes constantly because I imagine this book, it's a 12-part book, so I imagine they want to get it out on time. And also it illustrates like all the different points of what's going on in the comic. Like you have one art style of Orion, I'm just going to call him Optimus because he calls himself Optimus by the end, but yeah, Optimus, Rodimus, and Cyclonus going into the dead universe. You have another artist on the stuff going on in Cybertron, and the other ones with Ultra Magnus and the rest of Lost Light trying to find Metroplex. You have a lot going on here, and the artwork actually kind of helps give each storyline a voice. Although, granted, the last 3 chapters are all done by one artist for the most part, so it's a little more confusing. I mean, it's a little more put together, but probably because confusing was the wrong word. It's actually a little more. The last 3 chapters are pretty much the same artist because all of it's kind of culminated on Cybertron. So it's more or less like, yeah, hey, I don't think we need a new artist for this point because it's all in one place. But anyway, what I like about this is that, it really shows that Shockwave is a menace. Shockwave is just a danger to people. He is an absolute threat. Probably even more so than Megatron. And speaking of Megatron, yes, Dark Cybertron was the story that made Megatron into an Autobot at the end of it. Yeah, Megatron joined the Autobots at the end. Galvatron takes over. Because for those who are unaware, Galvatron and Megatron are 2 different people in the IDW universe. I don't know why, but it kind of works because Galvatron, I like this version of Galvatron in that he is essentially like this, this warrior-born kind of person, but when he gets beaten down, his true colors shine. It's really fun to see, this version of Galvatron, because it was kind of fun to watch Megatron beat the piss out of him at some points. This is also a great story because it's a really fun story of all the Autobots kind of divided at some point or another. Starscream, as most of you guys know, Starscream's my favorite Transformer, and to see him, like, again, he's the chosen one, but it's Starscream, so he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that he stays in power. And I also like Rat Trap as his, I guess you could say underling, yeah, even though Rat Trap has his own schemes. It's really interesting to note that I like Rat Trap, but I never really, like, understood why, you know, when they brought in the Maximals and Predacons, they usually had them, like, working for the Decepticons. Never got that, but I know that changes later on down the line. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. But yeah, the other stories of, like, Rodimus and Orion having these conversations. Also, I need to get back and read Transformers Lost Light, because the crew of Lost Light is amazing. Whirl and Brainstorm have definitely become some of my favorite Autobots rereading this comic. So there's a moment where Whirl, they're running around inside Metroplex to try to reactivate him, and then they end up right back where they started, which is Rodimus's ship, the Hot Pod, which looks like Rodimus's head. And Whirl goes, "All right, I'm gonna hit it. Don't hit it. It's our escape. I'm angry. I've got to hit something. I got to blame something." Whirl is just awesome. And Brainstorm is like Wheeljack. If he didn't really give it, if like Wheeljack didn't give a shit about protocol. And he's very much like the I like how Brainstorm is like the real mad scientist of the Autobots. I thought that was pretty fun. There's also some great stuff with Cyclonus, who is kind of like, sorry, I'm getting a text from my bro Chris. But yeah, like I was saying, like, Cyclonus gets some real character development in here, especially with the stuff with the Dead Universe and how he views it, and also the Autobots. I really like this version of Cyclonus, where he's very conflicted, and I like where his loyalties kind of lie. They're not really on Decepticons, but they're not on the Autobots either. So I dig that. I really dig that what they do with Cyclonus. But yeah, also Megatron also has some great character moments. Him and Bumblebee actually get some excellent character moments in here of seeing, you know, Megatron and Bumblebee work together, of all people. And half the time, Megatron is ripped in half. So yeah, every Autobot and Decepticon gets so much screen time, and you know, for a 12-part event and so much going on, everyone gets, you know, time to shine. Everyone gets like these moments to shine, and all these little moments to, you know, have their great character moments. Like Brainstorm gets a moment, Bumblebee gets a moment, Prowl gets a moment. But yeah, also, I totally forgot, maybe someone who's really, like, super in-depth with the Transformers comic universe, because I keep forgetting, because there's been so much. I forget, were Cyclonus and Tailgate a thing? Because they really had a hint at that Cyclonus and Tailgate were apparently a couple at some point. Which is fine, I'm totally fine. I actually kind of like, there's also a moment with Prowl and Chrome Dome, and I was like, dude, Prowl is so gay for Chrome Dome right now. But it's fine, it's cool. Anyway, so what was I going to say? This was just so much fun. This was a great event. I will say that the whole Shockwave storyline does kind of wrap up a little fast in the last 3 parts, but for the most part, it's really cool to see all of these characters and all these storylines kind of culminate into one giant event. So if you're looking for, you know, some cool stuff to read in the Transformers IDW universe, go check out Dark Cybertron. Granted, you might be a little lost at some points, so keep that in mind, but Dark Cybertron is much like with Combiner Wars, was very much a point that showed that the IDW Transformers universe was a force to be reckoned with. So I very much enjoyed this storyline. If you're a fan of Starscream, Shockwave, or Megatron, even though they're doing good things, these are great spotlights for those Decepticons. So anyway, yeah, just an all-around great event, and again, like I said, unlike with Marvel and DC events, these events that happen in Dark Cybertron really show that, yeah, this shit sticks for the most part. This shit very much sticks. So, yeah. So you guys tell me in the comments below, if you've read Dark Cybertron, what did you think of it? Comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this as much as this comic review. And, yeah, Just comment below, let me know what you guys thought of this, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys later.